This happened about 6 months ago. I live in a sketchy area in Alabama that is a cesspool of bad people. I decided around 6:30 p.m., when it was cool and starting to get dark, but still light enough to see, that I would go for a walk. There is a little bridge surrounded by forest about 5 minutes walking away from my house, and most of the surrounding area is woods. I had a feeling that I was being watched, but I couldn't see anyone, so I tried to shake the feeling. After a few minutes, I started to hear what sounded like howling. I thought it was coyotes because they live in the area. Boy, was I wrong. I should have turned around, but I wasn't done with my walk. I usually walk for an hour or so. Once I hit the bridge, I heard some whispering and twigs breaking. That's when I saw a shirtless man who was skinny and tall. You could see every one of his ribs and his sternum poked out. I faced the ground and kept walking, and that's when he let out this primal scream that I still hear in the back of my head to this day. He started running towards me faster than I expected. I broke into a sprint as he chased me. He was slowly gaining on me. I kept looking back, and the more I looked back, the closer he got. Then, I saw a car coming down the road, so I started waving my arms like a madman and screaming for them to stop. As soon as the car stopped, I looked back and saw him running off into the woods, making that same scream he did before. Had it not been for that random stranger stopping, I'm not sure what would have happened to me, and the thought follows me to this day. So me and my parents went to stay the night at my grandma's house while she was in Florida to make sure everything was working for when she came back. She lived in Florida in the winter and in this house in the summer. So my parents went out to see some friends, so I stayed home. So I was playing my PlayStation in my room when I thought I heard a noise downstairs. I ignored it and just kept playing. A few minutes later, I heard another noise, but it was much louder this time. It sounded like somebody stomping their foot on the ground. I was conveniently playing a Resident Evil game, so it was even more creepy. I get scared and paranoid very easily, so I decided to close and lock my door. That decision might have just saved my life, because a couple minutes later, after I heard someone run really fast up the stairs, it scared the absolute fuck out of me. Whoever was out there, they started laughing. It had to be one of the scariest things I had ever heard. It was so loud that it had to be hurting their throat. They sounded completely insane. They started to turn the doorknob, but then realized that it was locked. They then started to ram the door, still laughing their lungs out. I tried to find something to block the door with, but couldn't find anything. So I decided to try to get out of the window, which was hard because the window couldn't open very much, and my room was on the second floor. So I opened the window and was fitting myself through when I heard the door give in. The fear made me push myself even harder through the window, and I got out. Before I jumped, I looked back and saw him. He was probably about 6 feet tall with broad shoulders. He was freakishly skinny, to the point where if he was shirtless, you could probably see his ribs sticking out. He was wearing a run-down, old, dirty-looking outfit. The scariest thing, though, was the fact that he was laughing but had an angry look on his face. It made him look absolutely terrifying. I jumped down, but I think I landed badly because I felt a pain in my ankle. We later found out that I sprained it. It hurt, but I was still able to run to the neighbor's house and had them call the police. I also had them call my parents, who were only a couple minutes drive away. So my parents got to the neighbor's house and asked me everything that happened, and I told them. They stayed with me at the neighbor's house and waited for the cops to come. So the cops made it to my house and searched the area. They found the man hiding in the bushes. He wasn't too hard to find because his foot was sticking out of the bush, and he was breathing quite loudly. So they arrested him and left. I don't know what they did with him, but I hope they put him in an insane asylum. Apparently, when they were searching for him, they found a bloody knife on the ground and bloodstains on my door. He was cutting himself while walking through the house. So my parents and I were pretty shaken up, so we decided to stay in a motel for the night. I didn't get any sleep that night. I was too traumatized. So after that, everything was pretty normal. What still scares me is that if I wasn't so paranoid and locked my door, I might have been murdered.